Hello, welcome to the most dangerous podcast. How are you this week, James?
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah. Refreshed after a long weekend.
Oh yes,
Uh,
you were away, weren't you?
I was away. Yeah, went to Anglesey.
I know.
Um,
We were in the same place, but just not on the same day. Unfortunately, we went to
yeah,
Conway.
yeah, we went to Conway as well.
Yeah,
So yeah, it was a bank holiday last weekend. The weather was pretty shocking, to be honest.
it was a bit of shit, wasn't it?
Yeah, we missed each other by a day. So I was there.
Yeah,
We went to Conway on Sunday. I think you were there on Saturday.
Saturday we were there. Yeah.
Yeah, we went somewhere else on Saturday.
Oh,
I know we went there. We drove across there on Saturday. We stayed in a place in Anglesey which has. I looked this up before. I thought it was actually the longest place name in the world, but it's actually the second longest.
is it?
Yeah.
It used to be the longest. Someone must have come up with a longer name.
Yeah. It's like somewhere in New Zealand that's just got like this ridiculously long name.
So, what's the name of the place in Wales you went to?
Well, I've been practicing actually,
Go on.
so just bear with me 1 second.
Llanfair pwll gwyngyll goger chwrndrobwll Llantysilio gogogoch.
God, you said that well.
Yeah, that's my Welsh accent, because I'm half Welsh,
Yeah.
so I kind of like just I have to
Amazing.
put the effort in. So yeah, so I've been practicing that, obviously. So that's where I stayed. It's like it's just literally a road through a village. There's
like
two pubs.
Is it like a train station that's got the name across the front of it, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a train station there. There's two
Mhm.
pubs, a massive kind of like gift shop type thing with it's really weird, with like a cafe in it and like a peacocks, with like the grandmas buy the clothes and
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
Like they sell like fudge and Welsh whiskey and things like that. There's a cafe there, which is really nice because that's where we had our breakfast on Tuesday when we left. Yeah, not much to do there, but there's loads of other stuff sort of surrounding that we sort of went around and visited. We did a bit of crabbing.
I wanted to ask you about that because I saw your Facebook pictures of little Eliza with the crab wire over the edge of the pier. How would you catch a crab? Has it got a hook on it, or is it?
So you've got basically a net on a string, and you put some bait. You put bait in the net. We used bacon, and you basically just put the net on the bottom of over the pier.
Yeah.
Net on the bottom of the sea, I suppose, and you wait for the crabs to crawl into the net, and you just lift them out.
Ah, cool.
Caught
I
loads of
wasn't
them.
sure. Yeah, I just saw like the fishing wire, and I thought you can't hook a crab, surely.
No, you just sort of wait for them to sort of climb in the net
Yeah.
and eat the bacon, and then catch them. Yeah, we caught loads of them. I mean, some were pretty big. You can't eat them or anything. You have to put them back. In fact, when we put them back, we went down onto the beach or the bay, and if you like sort of release them just a little bit away from the sea, they'll kind of like just scuttle off into the sea.
Oh, cool.
So we had like a crab race.
Something I did when my honeymoon in Mexico was releasing the little baby sea turtles on the beach.
Oh, right.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a bit different.
Yeah.
It's not quite as glamorous releasing crabs into the sea, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's the Anglesey version, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, I had a really good time.
Excellent.
Back, just fucking back to work. It's shit. I've got not that I'm counting, but I've got 8 weeks left.
Yeah.
And my boss came in. Well, one of my bosses came in today, and she's like, started mentioning garden leave. I was like, yeah, go on. We're just looking. She was like, well, we're looking for someone to sort of come in and take over. It'd be good if there was a bit of a crossover, so you can sort of show them the ropes.
Yeah.
And then she was like, oh, when I left my old job, I was on garden leave. I was like, really? Well, that sounds quite good.
Funnily enough, I've just bought a strimmer.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like 8 weeks is probably a bit too much. 4 weeks, I could do that. Sit on my ass. I've got a huge backlog of PS5 games to clear.
That's it.
So
So before we go into the sort of main stuff, I was sitting last night and I wondered, am I the only person? Surely I'm not the only person in the world that's shown their child a picture of Shane McGowan's teeth to try and get them to brush theirs.
I thought you were going to say something else there. I don't think I've done that. My kids are pretty good with their teeth. Yeah.
Must just be me then.
I
think I've done it to Madison, Murray and Teddy now. You know,
A friend
I don't
of
want to
mine.
brush my teeth. You'll look like this guy. Oh shit! Suddenly they start brushing their teeth.
Yeah, well, he's dead now, isn't he? He's looked like
He
this
is,
guy
yeah.
dead. A friend of mine went to see him once,
Mhm.
and she said that he on stage they had a piano. I might have told you the story before. On stage he had a piano, and on top of the piano was 11 pints of Guinness.
Wow.
And he walked on stage, downed a pint of Guinness,
Mhm.
played a tune, and when the tune was finished, downed the next pint of Guinness.
Bloody hell.
And then just played the next tune. And he played 11 tunes, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
And then when he downed the final pint of Guinness, he just walked off stage. That was the gig.
There's an interview on Frank Skinner where he turns up with a pint of what looks like water. And Frank Skinner's like, let me smell that. And he's like, wow. And it was just like a vodka and gin shit mix or something.
Yeah, well, he did die. Was it this year or late last year he died?
It was in the last 12 months.
I think it was late last year. I think that's right. I think there was a big push for the Christmas song to get to number one. But I mean, I'm surprised he lasted as long as he did.
I know.
So fair play to him.
Do you know, from what I hear, absolutely lovely guy and an unbelievable lyricist, but
yeah,
an alcoholic.
Great songwriter. Great songwriter. I'm not sure about the singing, but it had its own style, I suppose.
Yeah, it was his lyrics that were good, wasn't it? It's more than his voice.
So God bless you.
Aye. So, James, last week we read out an email that we'd received from Sean in Nottingham.
That's right.
And would you believe we've had another one? It's catching on.
Really?
Yes.
Keep them coming. We need them.
This one's even better, though, because this is a story that actually happened to this chap. Because I think you'd asked, didn't you? You said, listen, if you've got anything dangerous has happened to you, write in. And
well, yeah, that's what we're kind of looking for, isn't it? So we'll do the socials after the story. But yeah, we are looking for stories where you've been in a dangerous position or a dangerous situation, or maybe even something a bit supernatural that's shit you up or whatever. That's Absolutely. Kind of the angle we're going for.
So here we go. So we got an email. This is from Andy in Wolverhampton.
Andy, hello, Andy.
Dear James and Fraser, I was listening to your podcast last week and I thought I would send in my own dangerous story. So I was on a flight from Birmingham to Atlanta in the US. I think it was about 1991, not too long after the Lockerbie disaster. It was a business trip, so I was on my own. About 3 hours into the trip, the air stewards started to look agitated and have a lot of discussions between themselves, causing a bit of a stir in the cabin. People started to discuss amongst themselves that there may be something wrong with the plane. After about 10 minutes of wondering, the captain came on the tannoy, saying that we had to change route to Boston because they'd been informed of a suspicious package on board.
No way.
No secrets to what that would be.
Well, it could be anything, couldn't it?
Could be.
Yeah. My birthday's on Lockerbie, actually.
It is, yeah. Yeah. It's the shortest day of the year, isn't it?
Yeah. The best day of the year.
There was pandemonium within the airplane. People were crying, even the air stewards were pale as ghosts, and some were in tears. The thing was, we were in the middle of the Atlantic at the time, so whatever way we went, it was 3 hours before we could land. Eventually people calmed down a little bit. Maybe the acceptance kicked in and people started to write down notes for loved ones.
Bloody hell. They're never going to get them, though, are they?
That ran through my head. On a fucking tissue.
Yeah, like just bits of paper.
Yeah, it's for their own peace of mind, isn't it? The last 2 hours of the flight was done in almost complete silence. I genuinely thought my time was up. I started to think things like, I hope it just blows me up. I don't want to plummet 30,000 feet to the sea. I thought about my friends and family. The descent into Boston was terrifying. The closer we got down, the more I just expected to hear a boom. Although I'm not sure if you would even hear it. When we got to the runway, there were police, fire engines, and even some military trucks ready.
Really?
We landed, and the big slides were out the sides for us to jump down, as it was faster than getting the big ladder things. Once we were all safe in Boston Airport, the plane was checked out, and we were told it was a hoax. Loving the podcast, guys. Andy in Wolverhampton.
Wow, no way. That's incredible. That's really scary. Thank you. Yeah. That's the sort of stuff we're after. That is absolutely terrifying. I don't know what I'd do if I was in that position.
It's the time, though. I mean, imagine if you just taken off this, oh shit, there's a suspicious package in 20 minutes, turn around, land. It's the fact that it's 3 hours.
Yeah, I know. I remember after 9/11, so I was in Amsterdam on 9/11, and there were loads of like, can we call them Yanks, American people, who were over there, and like they kind of sort of their flights were delayed naturally, and there was just this, and we flew home sort of like a day or two after, but just the atmosphere, it was kind of like shit, like and I suppose it was the same after the Lockerbie disaster. There's probably a lot of that kind of like, well, is this like a thing? Is it going to happen again? There's the tension in the air type thing. So that must have been so frightening. I mean, you'd be straight in the toilets with the air hostess. Let's get it. This is it now.
Imagine though, you're sitting with someone, you decide to fucking just open up. Do you know what? I've always thought you were a complete fucking wanker, And then you land safely, and you're like,
psych.
Yeah. But no, terrifying story.
Terrifying story. So if anyone out there that's listening, if you've got any story, that's the sort of thing we're looking for. So please, Fraser, if you want to do the honours, email in and contact us by.
So the email address is jamesandfraserpod@gmail.com. And for our American listeners, there's no I in Fraser, it's Fraser. And so it's jamesandfraserpod@gmail.com. And you can find us on Facebook, The Most Dangerous Podcast, TikTok, YouTube, all under The Most Dangerous Podcast. And it'd be nice if you followed us on all those platforms as well.
Yeah, give us a like. And even if you don't like us, give us a 5-star review, because that does help.
Yeah.
If you're not willing to give us a 5-star review, don't bother.
Don't bother, go somewhere else.
Go somewhere else. But contact us. We're all for stories like that, because they're fascinating. And
absolutely.
It's frightening stuff. Scary.
I know.
Like planes do scare me a little bit. I mean, I'm not scared of flying or anything like that or whatever, but I remember like I was on my way back from Tokyo one time, and we were flying over like Siberia or something, and you have like sort of that moment of clarity, where you go, fucking like I'm 30,000 feet inside a tin can here, and I've got another 14 hours before I land, and I just started to like flip out a little bit.
It's weird. I was listening to that Lads Anonymous podcast, and they were saying that when you're walking about and you start to think there's nothing under my feet, that is just
when you're on the plane,
there's nothing. It's just under this floor. Well, there's suitcases, and then there's nothing.
Yeah, it's really weird. Yeah, you just kind of like, I had to sort of hyperventilate for a few minutes and put some shit film on the screen. They used to have good films though, actually.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I got to relax on a plane. I've always had a child to deal with.
Yeah, well, mine are a bit older now, so it's all right. They just sort of like
shove an iPad in front of them and
Nintendo. That'll do. Right, well, thank you. Who was it? Andy
in Wolverhampton.
Thank you very much for the tale. So I guess it's time for Dangerous News. Okay, so this week's Dangerous News. This story comes from the Daily Star, one of my favourites. I think we discussed in the past.
Yes.
So this is: North Korea sends dirty balloons with explosive bags of poo to southern neighbours.
What?
Have you seen this story in the news?
No, I haven't.
Have you not? It's kind of been. It's in all like the mainstream news as well, like like the Guardian and the BBC and stuff.
I only look at the news once a fortnight when it's my turn to.
Yeah, it's probably for the best.
Oh, yeah.
So, North Korea has been accused of sending more than 260 balloons carrying feces and rubbish into South Korea. No, yeah. The surreal scheme was presumably cooked up in some office in Pyongyang. How do you say it? Pyongyang, whatever. By one of Kim Jong-un's cronies. This is literally the Daily Star's wording. Yeah. And it has left the southern neighbours furious. The balloons also reportedly carried explosives designed to make the poo packages pop. Some balloons were still airborne on Wednesday morning, so May 29th, so yesterday. I was recording. Some of the balloons reached as far as the South's capital, Seoul. So the JCS, so I'm guessing this is kind of like, I don't know, the South Koreans police or FBI or whatever. They said it violated the international law and seriously threatened the safety of the Korean people.
What the hell?
It also sternly advised North Korea to immediately cease such inhumane and tacky actions.
Cease sending your poo.
Cease it. It also confirmed that specialised teams are dealing with the stinky debris. Meanwhile, authorities have advised people to steer clear of unknown objects and to report any further sightings.
Amazing.
So biological warfare.
North Korea is like a country that's run by a big knobhead spoilt child, isn't it? It's just
funnily enough, before we came online,
yeah.
I was actually watching a documentary about North Korea, about some French tourists who went on a holiday there, because you can actually go for a visit.
Oh yeah.
Apparently, it costs €8,500 for 3 weeks. So you can go to like the Seychelles for that.
Yeah.
And sit in the sun. But yeah, you can go for €8,500. Basically, when you get there, you are given a guide, and that guide will not let you go anywhere without them.
Yeah, you're not allowed to take pictures of anything without permission.
Yeah, all pictures that you take, they like review, and if they don't like it, they'll delete it.
Yeah.
In the documentary that I watched, they weren't just in the city. They went to like a seaside town, and then it became like apparent that this seaside town was just set up for like tourists.
Yeah.
So like the people living there were actually like government officials and stuff, and like it wasn't that. And there was like these big sort of wooden gates, and like the guy sort of must have had a hidden camera, and he peeked through them, and then you could see like all the actual people sort of in the village, whereas like this sort of like secluded sort of town is where the tourists were allowed to stay. So it's a crazy place. Like I wouldn't mind going to visit it. I'm a bit of there's something in me that likes to travel.
Yeah.
And I would like to go and see it, but I don't know. I'd be scared of going, this is bullshit, this.
Yeah,
and then just like never being released. It's like 30 years of hard labour.
The stories, there was that boy that was caught, he stole like a poster off the wall.
That American lad. Did he get executed?
I don't think he wasn't executed. They eventually released him, but he was so like ill and battered and bruised and stuff that he died.
He died, on
the way home or something.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, well, the thing is, it sounds pretty harsh, but you've got to respect the cultures and stuff like that, haven't you? Like you can't go there like taking the piss. I mean, nobody wants. God bless his soul and all that. Nobody wants him to die, but you can't go to a country like that going, "This is bullshit." Start ripping down posters and stuff, or whatever he did.
That's it. You know the rules.
You know the rules, yeah. Right, second story then. This is from our old favourite Sky. Kabusi dies is the tagline. So the Shiba Inu dog, which inspired the Dodge meme and became the face of the Dodge coin, has actually died this week.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, the Japanese Shiba Inu had been suffering from leukemia and liver disease. The owner is quoted in saying, "Thank you all so much for loving Kabusa all these years. I'm certain Kasuba was the happiest dog in the world. That makes me the happiest owner in the world. I'd like to express my deepest appreciation to everyone who has sent much love to us. Miss Sato, a teacher in Japan, adopted Kabuso in 2008, where she was sent to an animal shelter after her puppy mill shut down. Don't know what that means.
Puppy mill?
Yeah, so she got him from a shelter.
Yeah.
Kabuso became an internet sensation when in 2010 a photo of her with crossed paws and a slight smirk spread on Reddit, on MySpace, and a Reddit user referred to the image as Dodge, the intentional misspelling of the dog. The Dodge meme became popular in 2013. Coloured Comic Sans text overlaying the photo with broken English phrases like "Wow, so scared" and "What are you doing?" surrounding the dog.
Yeah.
In 2021, the Dodge meme sold as an NFT for $4 million.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, so you know NFTs, they're
Yeah.
basically these pictures, aren't they? You buy. I think the bottom's falling out of that. Kabusu also was the face of the cryptocurrency Dogecoin, which was originally created as a joke. And for a few days in April, the Dogecoin logo was used as the icon for the Twitter home button.
Oh, wow.
We know all about Dogecoin, don't we?
Yeah, I hear some people lost some money in that.
Yeah, only a couple hundred. It was all right.
Yeah. I still have about 14 million Shiba Inu coins or whatever.
Yeah, I've got 25 million Shiba Inu coins, which are worth about 200, 300 quid.
Really?
Yeah, I think I'm waiting for him to hit $1.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to sell him and just retire on an island somewhere.
But
we did have some Dogecoin for a bit, didn't we?
Yes, yeah.
And we were waiting for Elon Musk to sort of like, when he went on that Saturday Night Live or whatever.
Yeah, he ripped it, didn't he?
Yeah, we were all expecting him to go, yeah, this is like, we're going to use this currency for all my businesses. And he just went, that shit. And we just lost about 150 quid each.
Oh, yeah. Just watch the arse fell out of it. Anyway.
Yeah, very sad that, but you know.
Aye.
I do like Shiba Inus. I think I might get one day.
They're nice. They're like foxes, aren't they?
Yeah. If I do ever make this 25 million that I'm banking on, I'll definitely get one.
Aye.
So finally, tonight or today, this refers back to a story that you told. It might have been last week, a couple of weeks ago. So the huge black screen that was put in that tourist destination. What was the name of the place again? It was like,
can't remember.
I did see it. Yeah, I can't remember. But yeah, if you are a regular listener, or if you're not, go back and listen to the news previously, because Fraser mentioned that there was a tourist town in Japan, and the governors or the mayor or something decided to put up a huge black screen to stop tourists taking photos of Mount Fuji. Well, it must have been last week, because it says the town installed the black mesh net last week in a bid to prevent overcrowding caused by tourism. The town spent 1.3 million yen, so that's $6,500 UK money, on the screen, which is 8 foot high and 20 meters long. However, the very next day that it was put in place, a hole was discovered in the material. Japanese officials have found around 10 similar holes, all at eye level, and all apparently just the right size to fit a camera lens through. So good use of public money there. Despite the holes, officials have said that the net, which was installed along with additional fencing, has helped to ease the pressures of over-tourism in the town.
Right.
So it is working, but it seems like people are sort of either cutting little holes in it to take photos. And the story goes on to say that it's a problem all over the world, over-tourism. And many destinations are putting measures in place to help limit the impact of visitors, which I think is true in the Canary Islands. I think I saw something recently.
Yeah, they're fed up with tourists, aren't they?
Yeah, putting taxes in place and banning certain things. I think I did see a town in Spain banning inflatable willy costumes because people on stag do's go over there, and it's just like, there's kids playing in the street and there's loads of willies walking around in costumes. Boom boom.
Fujikawa Juchiko.
That's exactly what I was going to say. So yeah, it's working a little bit, but not as intended.
Aye.
So that's the this week's dangerous news.
Well, thanks for your dangerous news this week, James. It's interesting to hear that black screen's not really doing the job. People cutting their wee holes in it, but
I quite like the poo bombs.
Yeah, I'll be thinking about that for a while, actually.
I think that's like kind of stuff that we used to do when we were kids.
Yeah, definitely.
Just put dog shit in a balloon and throw it at someone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Piss in a water balloon.
Piss in a water balloon, yeah. That one was warm. Do you remember we went to see Oasis the second time when we went in the Manchester City Stadium?
Yeah, the Etihad.
Yeah, we were with that lad, Chris, that I worked with, and he'd never really been to a concert before. And we were getting splashed with beer and everything. He just went, "Oh, I've just been covered in a pint of beer." And he went, "Oh, it's dead warm."
That's like, I kind of went off
yes.
going to like Oasis gigs because there's a bit of a thing where people throw piss.
Just pissing in a cup and throwing it.
And just launching it. And I don't know, I've been to loads of gigs, but it just seems to happen quite a lot with them.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not even, they've not done a gig for years, but I mean, I've been to see them a few times, but yeah, it just seems to be an Oasis thing. Just pissy people.
What a strange thing to have. Oh yeah, when we tour, people throw piss.
Yeah, it's a bit odd.
I went to see Depeche Mode on my own once, and didn't realise that I was probably the only guy there that wasn't in leather trousers. It was a bit weird.
Yeah. I've got Weezer and Smashing Pumpkins coming up in a few weeks.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's like definitely going to be like an old crowd, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's all right. I can deal with that.
I went to see Ocean Coliseum last year, and nearly every
Ocean Coliseum,
yeah.
Fuck you now, they're shit.
It was just the lead singer and the drummer. It was Simon, an evening with Simon and Oscar.
Oh god, that's so wanky.
Unplugged. Do you know who supported them? The guy from the
fucking Piers Morgan.
Who is it that sang "Come On, Eileen"?
Oh, the Dexys Midnight Runners.
Yeah, it was the guy from Dexys Midnight
Runners. The guy, not even the band.
No, it's just him.
Just turned up.
It's him with like a Casio keyboard playing
some
tunes.
Good tune, that though.
Every lad, pretty much every guy there, was like between 40 and 50, but still wearing the brown coat and had that Manchester haircut, all the kind of swept forward.
Really? Because they weren't really like a kind of like Manchester scene, were they? They were just a bit shit. They just made music for adverts.
Yeah,
as far as I can remember. I mean, don't mean to take the piss, but
I enjoyed it. It was good.
Anyway, right, sorry. So yeah, it's your week this week, Fraser. I think you did message me earlier in the week. I'm losing track of time. At some point, some stage, it feels like ages since we've done this. Actually,
I know.
At some point between the last pod and this pod, and you said you were going to do something supernatural. So I don't know if you stuck down that sort of road, but I'll let you take the reins, I suppose.
I didn't stick down that road.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you. I looked a few times for a good idea, and nothing was jumping out at me. And I thought, right, I need something half decent. So I've gone with something that we've discussed in the past. That not discussed in the past on a podcast, but something we've talked about.
Right.
So tonight I'm going to talk about the Cecil Hotel in LA.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. So little bit of background about it. You ready?
Go for it.
Comfortable?
Yeah, always.
Excellent. So now I'm going to say Cecil. Or would you say Cecil?
Either or, I think. Might be sort of a regional thing.
Okay.
Cecil, it depends.
Well, I'm going to go for Cecil. If you say Cecil, don't write in and tell us. The Cecil Hotel, located in downtown LA, is notorious for its dark history and eerie reputation. Opened in 1927, the hotel was initially a luxurious destination for travellers, but it quickly declined during the Great Depression. Over the decades, it became a haven for transients and those down in their luck, earning a reputation for crime and tragedy.
What's a transient?
A transient, it's just kind of someone that, like a travelling bomb, isn't it? Someone that's
like
just
down and out, like, yeah, just no fixed abode.
That's it, someone's just travelling about, isn't it?
Right, I don't know.
I think it's a kind of an American thing.
Yeah, kind of. It makes sense with the word, doesn't it? Transient, like just transitioning between place to place.
I don't think I'd go as far as saying like proper homeless. Someone that just goes from town to town, getting a bit of work here and there, and
yeah, like Rambo.
Yeah, like you said, no fixed abode. I don't know. Was Rambo a transient?
It seemed like it. Yeah, and then that's why he lost his shit, because he went to one town and then the sheriff was like, "No, you can't stay here."
No, I've never seen a Rambo film.
Who not? Was it good?
No, I've dressed up as him as a kid, but only the top half. My bottom half was naked. There's a photo.
What?
We'll leave that there. So the Cecil Hotel has been linked to numerous deaths and infamous events. It was a temporary home for serial killers like Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, and Jack Unterweger, a journalist turned murderer. The hotel's grim past is dotted with suicides, unexplained deaths, and reports of paranormal activity.
Yeah. The journalist turned murderer, that's pretty good, isn't it? You
Yeah.
just get like really pissed off trying to write. I just can't get the fucking fuck it. Kill everybody.
Yeah. I was trying to think of who was that one that Bjork leathered.
That was a journalist. I don't know who it was, but that's because she was like sort of like taking photos of a kid and stuff.
Yeah. I wonder. I mean, that's got to be. I think that's got to be a shit job, really. But I think you've got to be that type of person to want to do that. Imagine, like getting people's lives and faces all the time.
Like I couldn't do it because I'm quite an introvert.
Yeah,
and I've got like some empathy as well. So, to be actually invade someone's privacy consistently, I would just probably curl up and die because I can sort of empathise how horrible that would be. Right. Whereas, like you say, some people just don't give a shit.
No,
be like,
thick-skinned.
Yeah, like this is going to get me a lot of money if I take this perfect photo of like Princess Diana's tits or whatever. Yeah. And I'm going to get to pay $20,000 for this. So, yeah.
I know.
You have to be a certain type of person, definitely.
I couldn't do it. The hotel's dark allures inspired books, documentaries, and TV shows, most notably the 2021 Netflix series Crime Scene, The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel. And the subject that story is about is what we're going to talk about tonight, but not yet. Okay. Today, the Cecil stands as a stark symbol of urban decay and the mysteries that lurk within the city shadows.
I think it's still a hotel, though, isn't it? You might go on to say. I think
it is. It's still. Sorry.
Maybe I saw the documentary that you mentioned.
Yeah,
because I think I know it's about. I think it does say at the end of that documentary what happened to it. So I think it's still. I think they might have split it in two, and one part of it's a hotel, and the other one's for like residents who sort of live there. Because like with these old hotels. From what I understand, they used to just house people there, like
in America,
pensioners and stuff. They're just like, oh, well, you can live here and pay like minimum because they don't have like social housing per se.
That's
so
it.
They'd be like, oh, you just throw them in a hotel. You say, live here for like a tenner a week, and I think that's pretty much what happened with this place.
Yeah, you get like a long-term contract for a hotel room and stuff, and
yeah.
Bit weird, but no, it is still about, and a lot of people still visit it because of all the weird stuff that went on there. I found it by basically typing in the hotel with the most deaths in the world,
right?
And there's quite a lot of sort of deaths that have happened in this hotel in strange circumstances. So I'd like to quickly run through some of them.
Go for it.
So first one, November 19th, 1931. The tragic story of W.K. Norton, a 46-year-old Manhattan Beach resident, marks the beginning of our journey. Norton checked into the Cecil under the alias James Willies from Chicago. A week later, he was found
James
dead.
Willies, that's like...
Willies,
I can't say my name, can
I? Yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah, I haven't thought about that. A week later, he was found dead in his room after ingesting poison capsules. The authorities were unable to confirm whether it was suicide or something more sinister. I mean, I can't think any other reason for him to
something more sinister.
Poison capsules.
Someone fired them with a catapult into his mouth from the other side. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe someone gave them to him.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. September 1932, Benjamin Dodditch, 25, took his own life with a gunshot. He left no suicide note, which again left questions open as to why he did it. Did he do it? Did someone else do it?
Yeah. Forensics weren't what they were back in the day.
No. July 1934, Army Medical Corps Sergeant Louis D. Borden, age 53, was discovered dead in his room with his throat slashed with a razor.
That's tough, isn't it? That's a tough way to go. I mean, I get the gunshot.
Mm-hmm.
That's just done, innit? Over. I like when you hear about people that actually, like you read about people who sort of like do that to their own necks and stuff, and it's kind of
you gotta be pretty messed up in the head to slash your own throat.
Yeah, I mean a paper cut does it for me. I'm like, oh god, rags. Imagine doing with a knife or whatever.
Yeah. No, it goes through me. March 1937, Gracie Margot, 25, fell from a 9th-story window. Her fall was partially broken by telephone wires, but she later died in hospital. The police were unable to determine whether it was an accidental fall or whether she was pushed.
Okay.
May 1939, Navy officer Erwin C. Nesbitt was found dead after ingesting poison in his room. Again, whether it was a suicide remains uncertain.
It's a bit of a common theme, ingesting poison in one of these hotel rooms, isn't it?
Well, funnily enough, in January 1940, Dorothy Seeger, 45-year-old teacher, she registered at the Cecil under an alias of Evelyn Brent. She also ingested poison and was found dead.
Where are they getting this poison from?
I don't know. Maybe there's like a vending machine in the foyer or something. Poison.
I spy some poison, please. It's a bit weird, isn't it? I suppose like household things are poisonous, aren't they? Like we just don't like bleach, for example. Like drink loads of that, you're going to be in trouble. So I suppose if with like non-specific poison.
It's just like in a cartoon, isn't it, with a little skull and crossbones?
Yeah, it could be anything. Yeah.
Poison. This is a horrible one. September 1944, Dorothy Jean Purcell, 19, was staying at the Cecil with her boyfriend, Ben Levine. Unaware of her pregnancy, she gave birth in the bathroom, and thinking the baby was dead, she threw him out of the window.
Naturally. What?
Naturally, yeah. But I've just got a list of deaths. I read about this one.
Literally threw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah. I read about this one, and they did an autopsy on the baby, and the baby had oxygen in its lungs, which suggested the baby was alive when it was thrown out of the window, because a stillborn baby would never have had taken a breath, if that makes sense.
That's a bit bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, was it an instant thing? Like how long after giving birth to... she's done that deliberately. Because she's gone with her boyfriend, hasn't she?
Yeah.
And what year was it?
1944.
Right, so there's kind of like had a boyfriend, not a husband.
Mm-hmm.
So there's certain rules of society back in that day.
Yeah.
So she said to her boyfriend, "I'm just, I'm going to get sued by the estate." Said to her boyfriend, "Look, I'm pregnant. I'm going to give birth really soon. Okay, let's go to the hotel room. That you'll give birth there, and then we'll just say it was dead when it was born, and then that way we can just go our separate ways." Blah blah blah. But then she's just taken it a step further and thrown it out the window like a football.
That's it. You could have just...
Didn't need to do that.
Yeah. I don't know why she's hauled it out the window, but anyway, insanity, isn't it? Right, let's move through these. November 1947, Robert Smith, 35, jumped to his death. October 1954, Helen Gurney, a stationery firm employee from San Francisco, leapt from her window and landed on the Cecil's marquee. That's the big awning, isn't it, at the front?
Yeah, at the front, yeah.
February 1962, Julia Frances Moore, 50, jumped from the 8th floor window and landed in a second-story interior light well. She must have gone through the ceiling, they have like a ceiling with like a glass bit in it to let light in.
Oh, right, okay.
Crashed through that.
Yeah. These are pretty... I don't know, like, the area, from what I understand, is quite run down.
Yeah.
And I imagine the clientele from what I understand, when it first opened, it was a very prestigious hotel.
Yeah.
But the area itself started to become run down, and the clientele weren't the clientele that were perhaps...
Yeah, it wasn't designed for them.
Yeah, well, maybe. I don't know what the right sort of phrase is, but so these sort of suicides or potential murders, I don't think it's unusual.
No.
For that sort of area to have that many people sort of killing themselves. It's a lot, but I mean, who knows?
Another one, Pauline Otten. This is in 1962. Pauline Otten, who was 27, jumped from a 9th floor window, and she landed on a pedestrian, George Gianni, who was 65, and she killed them both instantly.
Killed him as well.
Yeah, poor guy. Just walking past. Pigeon Goldie, a well-known retired telephone operator who
flew out the window.
Well, sadly, she was found raped, stabbed, and beaten in her room. Her murder remains unsolved. So,
shit, sorry.
She'd have been better off flying out the window. That's very insensitive.
A long time ago, it's all right.
Yeah. December 1975, an unidentified woman jumped from the 12th floor window. September 1992, the body of an unidentified African-American man, aged 20 to 30, was found in the alley behind the Cecil. Police were unable to determine whether he fell, jumped, or was pushed. And lastly, June 13th, 2015, the body of a 28-year-old man was found outside the Cecil. His cause of death remains undetermined, and he has never been identified.
Yeah, that could be anything. I mean, that's quite 2015. See, I was going to say that's quite recent, but only 10 years ago. So.
I know. So I left one out.
Yeah, I know.
And I left one out that I want to talk about tonight, James. And this is about a girl called Elisa Lam. So if you've watched the documentary, which I haven't, then you'll probably know more of this story than I do.
Yeah, probably. I've said this 1,000 times. I watch a lot of shit.
Yeah, I would watch a lot of shit. I just don't seem to have the time. So Elisa Lam, a young Canadian student, became the centre of a haunting mystery in 2013 when her life ended tragically at the Cecil Hotel. Her story, woven with eerie details and unanswered questions, captured global attention and sparked endless theories. So Eliza was born April 30th, 1991 in Vancouver, in British Columbia, to immigrants from Hong Kong. She was a student at the University of British Columbia, but at the time of her death she was not enrolled. Eliza's life was a delicate balance as she battled bipolar disorder and depression, conditions for which she was prescribed several medications. In January 2013, Eliza set out on a solo journey to California, eager to explore and share her experiences on her blog and social media. She visited San Diego first, then travelled to Los Angeles, where she checked into the infamous Cecil Hotel on January the 26th.
So, what year was this again, sorry?
2013.
Okay.
So, Eliza was last seen alive on January the 31st, 2013. She was supposed to check out of the Cecil Hotel that day, but when her parents did not hear from her, they knew something was wrong. Worried, they reported her missing to the Los Angeles Police Department. The LAPD launched an extensive search of the hotel, even scouring the roof with search dogs, but Eliza was nowhere to be found. Flyers with her picture were distributed widely, and her case gained attention on social media. So this is where it gets a bit weird. On February the 14th, the LAPD released a surveillance video that would become infamous. The footage taken from one of the hotel's elevators showed Eliza behaving erratically. She stepped in and out of the elevator, pressed multiple buttons, hid in a corner, and made strange hand gestures.
Have you seen it?
No.
Have you seen the footage?
No.
Okay.
Probably should have.
Probably should have, actually, given it's... So it's really weird, right? So she is in the elevator. She steps out and she looks down the corridor, and then she's kind of getting a bit freaked out. And then she goes back into the elevator and she does this weird thing with her arms. They become all like twisted and freaked out. In fact, you should be able to get it on YouTube, but put it on the Facebook thing.
I will do, yeah.
And she does this like kind of weird thing with her arms, and her head sort of convulses and stuff. And I think if I remember, she steps out of the elevator again, and then back in. And I think that's the last shot of it. But it's the thing that she does with her arms which makes it really unnatural and quite sort of quite terrifying, really, because it's so weird the way that she acts. And I know there's a lot of theories around why she was acting like that, which I'm sure you're going to go into. But yeah, I do really think that you should have watched it. And I think it should go up on the page as well, just to have a look if you can find it and find a clip of it.
I'm sure I'll find it. So finally, on February the 19th, Santiago Lopez, a maintenance worker at the hotel, made a chilling discovery. Eliza's body was found in one of the 4,000-gallon water tanks on the roof. The discovery came after guests complained about low water pressure and an odd taste in the water. To find her, Lopez had to use a ladder and cut through the tank's secure top. Which is really weird, because if he had to get a ladder out and then cut through the top to find her, how did she get in there?
Well, that's it. That's the conspiracy, isn't it?
Yeah.
How on earth did she get herself into there? These aren't, again, if you watch the documentary or look at the pictures of it, these aren't small tanks. These are huge tanks on the top. They're basically supplying the water supply to the hotel. I think there's 3 or 4 of them. They're huge. Picture America in your mind, on top of these huge buildings, they have these massive water tanks. You can't just... The lid, I believe, would have been so heavy that... And I think she was only sort of a slight girl. She wasn't... I think she was quite short and slim. And it would have been quite difficult, near impossible, I believe, for her to open the top of one of these tanks and climb in it. And well, that's one thing. And the other thing is, why? Why would she want to do that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if it's saying a maintenance guy had to get a ladder and to cut into it to get into it.
Exactly, yeah. Exactly.
You think if there was an ability to just lift the lid off, then a maintenance guy would know how to do that, be able to do it.
Yeah. I mean, it was... I don't think it was locked. But nevertheless, I think it would have been incredibly difficult for like a young girl to get in there. So, there are questions there, definitely.
Well, when they conducted an autopsy, they ruled that her death was accidental drowning. So, toxicology report revealed traces of her prescribed medications, but no recreational drugs or alcohol. And the report noted her bipolar disorder. But what it's basically saying is that she drowned in that tank. So she wasn't murdered and shoved in the tank, but at the same time, she wasn't also full of alcohol or weird drugs that would make her do something irrational other than her bipolar disorder and her medication for that.
It says that she drowned, but it doesn't say... It's basically passing the buck, isn't it? Because it's almost saying, like, what the police are saying, well, we don't know, and there's no way of kind of how... unless we pour huge resources into it, which I'm sure they did to start with. The easy explanation is she's climbed in there herself. From what I understand, she wasn't she wasn't into alcohol or drugs or anything like that.
Yeah.
So,
that was me, yeah, sorry.
She wasn't into drugs or alcohol. She was pretty straight edge. She had a few sort of mental issues. Maybe from what I think, she had maybe a psychotic episode in the past.
Yeah.
But again, like the report, the autopsy report is right. She did drown in that tank.
Yeah, but she didn't have.
That's not the question. No, that's not the issue.
But there was no evidence, from what I've read, of cuts and bruises and a struggle, or someone forcing her in there against her will.
Well, it's a very, very strange case.
Definitely. So yeah, so it says that there are endless theories. Despite the official ruling, the strange circumstances of Eliza's death led to widespread speculation. Some believe she suffered a psychotic episode due to her bipolar disorder, which led her to climb into the water tank. Others suspected foul play, arguing it would have been difficult for her to access the tank on her own. Given the Cecil's dark history, some even suggested supernatural involvement.
Yeah, did you? So there's something called the elevator game.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard about this?
No.
Okay, so it's one of these kind of like, you know, when we were kids, it was like Bloody Mary in the mirror and spin around 3 times and turn off the light or something like that. Candyman or something.
Yeah.
There's a similar sort of thing called the elevator game. I don't know precisely what the game is, but I think if you're staying in like a high-rise building or a hotel, you go to certain floors, and then when you reach, you do sort of like floor 5, floor 12, floor 2, you know, and you do it in a sequence. Then eventually, I'm making this up, but I think it's something along these lines. The last floor is floor 13. And then when the doors open of the elevator, you step out and apparently you'll see something.
Right.
And now the theory is when she's acting weird in that video, that she's played this elevator game and that's the last floor, and she stepped out and she's seen something and that's made her flip out.
Right.
Okay, so that's the super. So yeah, you know, it is a bit supernatural this week. You know, so that is one of the theories, that she's done this. Something's happened, and she's seen something, and it's made her flip out, and whatever, the ghost's got her, or she's gone mad and gone into this tank.
Yeah. It's mad. It's like, see those sorts of games. I mean, we used to talk about like the Candyman and all that sort of stuff, and there was always that little bit where you just felt a little bit scared of doing it.
Well, that's the thing. Like I think I mentioned this. I've definitely mentioned it to you. So a year or so back at Christmas, it wasn't last Christmas, it was the Christmas before. My partner, she was like, because I'm quite into paranormal stuff, I'm quite interested in.
Yeah.
I don't believe in it per se, but I don't believe that everyone's lying about it.
Yeah.
And we had a conversation about it, me and my partner, and she's like, "Oh, it's all bullshit." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, it probably is, yeah, but there's got to be something in it, right?" Like, "Oh no," she was like, "I never believe in all that. Never believe in that." So I bought a Ouija board just because, stupidly, I had a bit of birthday, Christmas money or something. I thought, I'll buy a Ouija board, right? And it got delivered. Bought it off Amazon. It's only a game, isn't it?
Yeah.
I bought it off Amazon. And it arrived, and I went to her with it, and I was like, right, okay, well, if you don't believe in it, let's do this. And she went, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I was like, well, why not? If you don't believe in it, if you don't think it's real, if you're that adamant that there's nothing in it, why won't you do this with me? So, because I don't believe in stuff that I don't know.
Do you know? I think a lot of people say. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, everyone's got this kind of like, even skeptics have this element of sort of doubt in their mind, maybe, like, you know, this supernatural thing that, okay, it's definitely not real, but I'm not doing that just in case.
I was going to say there, though, I think a lot of people that say they don't believe in it do that to reassure themselves because they're actually a little bit afraid of it.
Yeah, possibly.
You know, there's a kind of, if I don't believe in it, then it can't be real.
Yeah. In fact, when, like I said, it's going off tangent loads, but like I said before, we were away this weekend, and the cottage we were staying in, it was like 200 years old or something. It was nice. It was one of these old terraced houses, and I immediately thought to myself, ghost, haunted, because I'm desperate to have some sort of paranormal experience. I just wanted just something so I can go, that's fucking mad. I mean, I've had a few things happen to me in the past in the pub that I used to work in, which I can go into another time. And I was laying there one night and started to get a bit sort of like freaked out a little bit, as you do, unknown place. And then all of a sudden, like, my girlfriend, I don't think she listens to this, but she snores quite badly, right? So I was laying there in bed and I was like, I started to get a bit freaked out. And I was like, I do want a paranormal experience, but I don't want one right now because I just want to get to sleep. and then all of a sudden, like, the bed started sort of shaking a little bit. I was like, fucking hell, what's this now? No, surely not. And then I realised it was my girlfriend snoring. She was snoring so much the bed was shaking.
Bloody hell. Do you know I've got a sleep apnea machine?
Oh, yeah.
I have to wear every night in bed.
Is that for, like, are you being tested?
No, I've been tested and I was
you've got
diagnosed with it, yeah.
Yeah, because my partner's had that done, so she's going through tests at the moment. I mean, it's pretty bad. I mean, I think I snore as well, but hers is bad. Like, sometimes, like, she'll go to bed and I have to turn the telly up because I can't hear.
Well, 5% of the reason I use that is for my health benefits, and 95% of it is because Laura punches me during the night because I snore.
Yeah, for her health benefits. Yeah.
That's it. It's more so that I don't wake her up during the night. But
yeah, we're going through a similar sort of thing. But that was. So yeah, I've gone away off there, but yeah, the bed was shaking. I was like, shit. This is it. This is my paranormal experience. Well, anyway, where were we?
I think that was it, really. To be honest, I think we'll leave it there. I just wanted to tell the story about the Cecil Hotel, and that to me was the most unexplained death. I mean, there were a lot of suicides. People commit suicide, and a couple of murders there, but that was a weird one.
It's definitely weird. I do recommend anyone listening to go and have a look at that, because it was very strange. Like you say, the earlier ones, they can, people commit suicide. I think a lot of suicides happen in hotels because you can go there and you're on your own, and you can make that decision or whatever. So I think a lot of that can be explained because, like I say, people go to hotels for the quiet and peace, and they can make their decision there. People jump out of windows. People get pushed out of windows. People take poison from the vending machine. These things happen. But for Elisa, she's found in such an unusual place as well. And she was found, she wasn't found for like 3 or 4 days, I believe, or maybe longer.
It's longer. It was the 19th she was found. She disappeared on the 31st, so it's like 20 days.
So like a good 2 weeks, yeah.
No wonder the water tasted weird.
I know, people drinking literally like rotting person.
Rank, isn't it?
It's a shame. Thank you, Fraser, so much for your efforts this week again.
That's all. Enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's good. It's a very interesting story. I think you can look into it. Very good. Yeah. We're back again next week.
Your turn.
Yeah, my turn next week. I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. Anything else to have to say, Fraser?
No, that's it. Follow us, share us, like us, do what you can. Keep listening.
Excellent. Okay, that's been this week's Most Dangerous podcast. Thank you very much, everybody. I said that weird then, didn't I?
Yeah. Thanks, James. It was my turn to say that as well.
Oh, was it? All right, you did it.
Following my thunder. No, you've done it now.
Oh, sorry. Well, I said it weird though, so you do it.
Okay, so that's been the Most Dangerous podcast. Thanks for listening. I'll speak to you next week, James. Thanks.
Cheers. Night.
Cheers. Bye-bye.